Good evening, everyone. Welcome to
evening.
Sunday Satsang with
Yeah.
John and Michelle.
Yeah, here we are again.
Here we are again, and thank you for joining us. And we really welcome this community that join us on a Sunday night. And I believe that what the world needs is more light, more love, more presence, more connection. And that's what we do here on a Sunday night with a Sunday night Satsang.
It's pretty informal. If you haven't been here before, we basically spend an hour with you and we lead you in through a beautiful balancing, centering meditation. Then we have a chat, and then we close again with another sort of visualization meditation.
Thank you for the hearts that we're receiving
Yes,
there. We
thank
love
you.
getting the hearts, and also we love hearing where you're from. So let us know where you're from, and if you have any questions or comments, please type them in the comment box. We don't get to them while we are on live, but we do get to them afterwards, and we appreciate all the comments, and particularly the hearts.
We do.
So thank you for joining us tonight. And tonight we're going to be looking at the power of inspiration. The power of inspiration. So who of you tonight feel inspired? And I know at the moment with all the challenges in the exterior world, with the lockdown and the contraction of the economy, a lot of people don't feel inspired. In fact, a lot of people are depressed. So we're going to be looking at a bit of that tonight. The power of inspiration. It really changes your whole physiology, psychology when you are inspired with life. So we're going to be looking at that. But we're going to start this evening as we always start, and that's by coming into reality. No, reality is not the story in your head. That's just a story in your head. The story in your head is what I call the matrix. That's the bubble of past and the bubble of future, which we tend to make as humans way more important than reality. Well, if the story in our heads isn't real, where's reality? Right here in the present moment. This is the only moment that you can touch, taste, that you can actually love, that you can actually hear, that you can actually embrace. So let's just close our eyes and center ourselves into our body. As I've said, the body is such a wonderful tool of presence. So let's just have this occupy body for a few moments, this occupy body experience. So closing our eyes, we focus on this wonderful body that we have. And while the mind goes into other places like past and future, the body is always here in the present moment. It's such a gift to anchor us back in reality. And the problem really comes when we leave our body with our awareness and we go into our bubble of story, into the past and into the future. We actually rob the body of life. We rob it of its balance. And we create blockages in the body. And so by occupying our body, we bring the health and the vitality and the peace back into the body. So let's just fully occupy the body right now with our awareness. Just feel the aliveness in your body. You might want to move your toes, wiggle your fingers. If you can, wiggle your ears. Yeah, you can try doing that. I've never managed to do that, but I know some people can. How about wiggling the tip of your nose? I even know a few people who can do that. Just fully inhabit your body right now. Gently, with your eyes closed, body relaxed, feet on the floor, hands just lightly touching each other maybe, resting in each other. Just feel that relaxation response in your body as you become aware of just this moment. And we withdraw our mind from all other times and all other places. And we become centered in the now, in the present moment. And there are certain tools that we've learned over the weeks that help us with the centering process. And one of the tools is the breath, the breathing. So let's just try a deep breath in. And when we breathe in not with the stress response, which is from your shoulders. We breathe in right from our belly. We pull that diaphragm down. So take a deep breath, pulling the diaphragm down, expanding your tummy, and then a beautiful, long, relaxing sigh out. Just release all that no longer serves you. Let's try that again. A deep breath into your belly, blowing your tummy up like a big ball. And then that long, releasing, relaxing breath out. And try and breathe out for twice as long as you breathed in. So you're making the out breath twice as important as the in breath. Let's take a third. Deep breath into your belly, taking it right down to your toes, filling your whole body with this fresh, beautiful, wonderful new breath. And then that sigh out, just relaxing, letting go, releasing. And now allow life to breathe you. Just hand over the control of your breath. Surrender it to this intelligence which we call life. But just maintain your awareness of the breath. Just maintaining that gentle in-breath and out-breath in your awareness. Maybe focusing on the tip of your nose and just becoming aware of the temperature change between the in-breath and the out-breath and the out-breath and the in-breath. Just being aware of that change. And just settling down into your body, into the present moment. Becoming aware of any tingling sensations in your body caused by the oxygenating of your body more fully with your lungs when you're filling them up. Become aware of any sensations you have, any uncomfortableness in your body. Just allow that to be there. Become aware of your hands and the temperature of your right hand, the temperature of your left hand, and see if you can feel an energy pulsing between your two hands if you hold them slightly apart. Sometimes you can feel a little ball of energy between your hands. See if you can feel that. And the reason we do this is not to create any psychic phenomenon. What we're doing is we're just bringing our awareness fully into your body. And we're turning up the dial on awareness. So we're becoming aware of the subtleties of energy that inhabit the body. And one of the most powerful energies which we can connect to is the energies in the hands. So see right now if you can feel a sort of field of energy between your hands. You might like to move them slightly out and in again and see if you can feel any resistance in the space between your hands. You might feel it as a warmth. At the same time, you have maintained your awareness of your breath. You haven't forgotten about just being there with the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. Becoming aware of your feet on the floor, your bum on the chair, maybe resting your back against the backrest. And just becoming centered fully in your body right now in this moment. Relaxing your shoulders, your neck muscles. Just allowing this moment to be exactly as it is. And the other tool which we've practiced in the last few weeks has been the power of listening. Listening to the quietness. It's evening here where we are, and the evening as always has some beautiful, wonderful sounds to offer us. Sounds of insects. Maybe a little bit of traffic noise. Maybe the hum of a computer or a fridge. Just listen. Listen without judging, without resisting, without labeling. Just listen. Fully occupying your body with your awareness, your attention. Feel if you have a cord at the crown of your head, pulling your body slightly upright. Feel this cord pulling your body slightly upright and see an energy running down it, down your spine, connecting the crown of your head with the chair you're sitting on. Maybe going down your feet and connecting your feet to the floor. Feel a flow of energy through your body, from the floor up to the crown of the head, from the crown of the head, gently back down to the floor. See yourself as a conduit between Mother Earth and Father Sky. Become aware of Who is aware? Become aware of who is listening right now to the sounds around you. Who is aware of your feet on the floor? You don't label anything. You just realize that awareness, in truth, is nothing. It's empty. It's not a concept. It's a direct experience. And this direct experience we can give a label to. We can point our awareness to words like life, words like spirit. But just be aware of it right now. Be aware of that stillness within you that has arisen in this moment, that listens. And at the same time of being aware of it, feel it occupying your whole body in a state of relaxation, in a state of peace. You might want to put a slight smile on your face. It takes less energy to smile than to frown. It also makes you feel good. Now take another deep breath into your belly, blowing your tummy up like a big ball, bigger, 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 bigger. The long releasing sigh out, relaxing your shoulders even more. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. And as you do that, just see how you feel in this moment. How do you feel? A bit lighter? A bit more centered? A bit more relaxed? A bit more present? Excellent. Welcome.
Thanks,
Welcome.
John.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. Lovely to see some familiar faces here. Hope you had a good, relaxing Sunday and Saturday, and that you're feeling chilled for the new week.
Oh, some people might have even had a long weekend from
Yeah,
Thursday
maybe.
right the way through to Sunday.
Yeah.
Although an awful lot of people are working at home, and if you're like us, well, there ain't
It
no
doesn't
long
really,
weekend.
yeah. We never know when the holidays are.
Yeah. Well, we're on holiday all the time, to tell you the truth.
Well, semi-holiday.
Yeah.
So we're going to be speaking about inspiration tonight.
The power of inspiration. Yeah. And what is inspiration? Yeah.
Do you want to carry on? Do you want to start?
Yeah. So many people live their lives as if it's a chore, something to be got through, something that you just have to bear with, hoping that one day in the future you may reach some wonderful place where all your needs are met. And people set goals. A lot of people set goals, and they work through the goals with a sense of need to achieve those goals, a sense of desiring the outcome of those goals. But everything that works with the mind, and that is the mind, everything that works with time and mind are one and the same. Everything that works with time and mind has an element of fear involved in it. And fear, I use the acronym false evidence appearing real. And so time is what I see as a horizontal plane. You know, you're born here and you run across your timeline and eventually get to, the grave at the end. And it's a dash for most people, and we're always in a hurry to get over there. And for a lot of people, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and quite a lot of resistance goes into that process of traversing your timeline to getting to the end. And there is another way to live your life. The other way to live your life is inspired. And inspiration is something very different to working towards a future. Now, the word I used in the meditation to describe that energy within you that was aware of the breath, that was aware of the listening, was a word that I called spirit. And to be inspired is to be in spirit. It's quite simple, to be in spirit. And what does that mean? No, it doesn't mean to go and have a bottle of Jack Daniels or whatever. No, that's not what the spirit that I'm talking about. The word spirit and the word life are one and the same. And just going back to that bottle of Jack Daniels, in case a few of you are reaching for it right now, alcohol is anti-life. If you want to kill something, you put alcohol. I mean, what are we doing at the moment with that hand sanitizer? It's alcohol. It kills. It kills. If you want to preserve something, you put it in some alcohol because it kills all the bacteria. And so that alcohol is anti-life. But the spirit I'm talking about tonight is life. It's actually is life. It's the life that animates your body.
I think we get quite confused with inspiration. For me, a lot of people, when I say, are you inspired? Do you feel like you're living an inspired life? They often get quite fearful. And there's often a feeling, or they'll feed back to me, clients and people that I work with will feed back and say, I don't really feel inspired, and I don't know how to get it. I don't know how to get inspired, how to become more inspired. What's going to inspire me from the outside so that I feel better inside myself. And I think it gets confused with passion, with vision. Inspiration's different from those things. So for me, it's very similar to, it's like the beauty. It's seeing beauty. It's feeling beauty. That's what, for me, that's what inspiration is. Anything that brings you in to that vertical plane that John's talking about, into spirit, for me, is inspiration. So it could be looking at a flower. It could be sitting and watching the sunset. We were in Monkey Valley and Noordhoek this afternoon, and we're just surrounded by beauty. I mean, it was just everywhere you looked, there was light catching the trees, and the sea was blue, blue, blue. So for me, that's inspiring because it brings me completely into the present moment and makes my mind go walkabout, which is just fine. So I think it's a little bit, when people say, I don't know, I don't feel inspired, it's because they're not feeling that inside themselves. And that's when we often feel depressed, when we can't find that connection. It's like an inner connection, isn't it? That's what I feel. I see it as. I feel it as an inner connection of feeling in spirit, inspired in the moment, which then informs what we're going to do outside in the world. So that inspiration then, if I feel inspired to create something, then the action follows the inner feeling as opposed to the outer making me feel inspired, because that can be fleeting.
So when you were sitting this afternoon at Monkey Valley, you felt alive, didn't you?
Yeah.
You felt inspired.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I was in the moment, because my mind wasn't active, and I was acknowledging and feeling and seeping in the beauty around us, and which brings you into the moment.
Yeah.
So for me, nature does that.
Yeah.
Nature brings you into that inspired state. So if we don't feel inspired, to just look at a flower, or to watch the sun catching a tree, or watch a little butterfly or a bird or an animal, or just anything that actually brings you in, that then helps you to, and for me it's a vibration. It's a little bit like, it's like love, you can't find it, you can't reach for it. And I don't think you can reach for inspiration. You can reach for things that make you feel inspired, that help you to feel inspired, but those aren't long lasting because they
come
leave.
and go. They come and go.
Because now we're not at Monkey Valley anymore.
Yeah.
But we can reenact or re-feel that feeling of feeling inspired, and then that generates more of that feeling.
So the word spirit and the word life are one and the same. When you are inspired, you're completely alive. You feel alive. Yeah. And the thing that blocks you from feeling alive is this brain. We were in Monkey Valley, which is a beautiful resort just outside Noordhoek, or in Noordhoek. But in fact, we have something on our brain on our shoulders called the monkey brain. And the monkey brain is what takes us away from life. It takes us away from this moment. Life is only ever now. And what that thinking process does, the remembering process or the anticipating process, it robs you of alignment with life. Life is the vertical plane. Life is always here and always now. And what robs us of that alignment with spirit, with life, with that joy of living, is the mind. Because the mind goes into the matrix of past and the matrix of future, when in fact reality, spirit, life is always in the present moment. So anything that we can do to take us out of that story and into the present moment will lead us more into inspiration. So what Michelle was saying there about sunlight glinting on a leaf, or looking at that beautiful ocean, it was an incredible color this afternoon. Anything that takes you away from your story will lead you to the gates of inspiration.
Yeah.
And so we did that in the meditation just now. We did the one thing that's always with us is the breath, the breathing. And just by aligning with our breath and our breathing, that stills the mind. And when the mind becomes still, we open the door for inspiration to flow through us. Albert Einstein said that thinking had very little to do on the path to discovery. His insight came from when his mind was empty. And then he was inspired with these insights. It's called the eureka moment, when suddenly you have these flashes of inspiration. And that was his genius. And you can't teach that in school or university. What they do there is they teach you how to be in the mind. And it robs you of that, what Michelle was speaking earlier, that creative spirit. Creative spirit is inspiration, isn't it?
Yeah. And for me, the prelude, if you like, to inspiration is opening to experience. So it's making yourself open to the experience right in front of you, or to being here now. You're opening, and then that inspiration flows in. So like the eureka moment, very often when we're sitting trying to figure something out, trying to come up with inspiration. I mean, I was in advertising for 25 years, and it was like trotting out new ideas and proposals and campaigns and all sorts of things, like had to just happen. And sometimes there was just nothing there. There just was no inspiration whatsoever, because it was sort of like you're running a race. And most of my ideas would arrive on the morning that we were pitching in the shower. When I'd been working my head off the whole week, trying to rack our brains to come up with this campaign. And when I was exhausted from all that, my mind wasn't working anymore, and I was able to actually just step back from it for 10 minutes, that's when the inspiration drops in. And anybody that does, I think, anything creative, whether it's cooking or making art or playing an instrument or singing or anything, will know that when your mind's active, that creativity will leave. I mean, in the workshops that I run, as soon as the mind gets involved, and the art workshops, so we basically do process art, which is in the moment art, and some of you on the call have been to 1 or 2 or 3 workshops with me, and our John and I run them in our retreats as workshops as well, is that it's in the process, in the moment, you're actually just allowing that flow to happen. And I watch it happening, and I watch it with myself. As soon as the mind comes in and judges, which the mind does, because that's what the mind's supposed to do, and says, but why are you using pink and yellow? They don't go together. The inspiration's gone. And then you've got to bring yourself back again. And then inspiration flows again. And then the next thing that you do comes from that feeling of being open to what's next. So it's almost like a curiosity to see what's next, but you're not forcing it. It's just, it unfolds. It's like a flower that starts to unfold, but you've got to be open for that unfolding to happen. Because as soon as you're trying to decide, it's gone in that moment. Then you've got to step back, step out of it. So you often see artists move away, and they'll go get coffee, or they'll go get tea, or they'll go outside, but they'll step away from it. It's because they're too close. to the mind.
It's the same what you're talking about, trying to work out a pitch to a client for advertising. You have to stand away, and standing away isn't, you don't, yes, you can physically move away from it, but standing away from it, standing away from the mind, standing away from the expectation, standing away from the need for something to happen. Because in presence there's no need. So that horizontal plane that I spoke about is ruled by fear, false evidence appearing real. It's always chasing something with need. It needs something more in the future. And only by stepping away from that need can we connect with inspiration. And, you know, people set goals. Yeah, setting goals are good. But setting an inspired goal is even better. And what's the difference between a normal goal and an inspired goal?
So for me, an inspired goal is heart-based. It's not head-based. So a goal, you know, I need to do that so that I can feel that and then I can be happy. That's a goal. So once I've got the $1 million in the bank, and once I've got the perfect partner, and once I've become successful in my career, then I'll feel inspired and I'll be happy and everything will be fine. So that's goals, which are fine and they're okay to have as long as we don't believe that they're going to make us feel inspired or happy or joyful. So it's to actually reverse it. For me, inspired intention is heart-based. It's what you want to feel like. So for example, when you process why you want that thing, whatever it is, how would you feel if you were to achieve that thing? So if you were to become famous, or you were to get all the money that you needed in the world, how would it feel inside? That's where it starts. It's that feeling.
Yeah, and so goals are really always future-based.
Yeah.
That's where you are. You're looking to the future to bring you fulfillment. Now, where's spirit? Spirit's right here.
Yeah.
So now you have robbed yourself of inspiration by going and setting something in the future, making that more important than present. So an inspired goal is you can have an outcome in mind. Yes, you can have an outcome in mind, but you live in the present moment. In other words, the step you're taking now towards that goal is more important than achieving that goal. That's an inspired goal because you maintain your feet firmly anchored in the present moment while walking in the direction of that goal. So that's perfect. You're walking in the direction of the goal, but you're not leaning out of the present moment. You're not looking to that future time to give you anything more important than the present moment. And one of the ways of looking at it is to say, well, the divine essence of life, whatever you want to call it, God or whatever, is always present. So when you take yourself away from presence, what are you saying? You're saying, I'm sorry, life. Sorry, God, I don't have time for you now because I'm going into a story in my head about a future time, which is my creation. It doesn't exist actually outside of the thoughts in my head, but I'm making that thought more important than reality, and reality is here. Life is always here. So to live an inspired life is to always make what you're doing now more important than some future objective. In other words, what you're doing now, yes, can be in alignment with a future objective, but you don't need that outcome. So one of the things that Michelle teaches with her art on the retreats that we run is using art, but not in an outcome-based way. In other words, you don't need it to look a certain way. It's the stroke you're taking now, or the bit of clay you're working with now, is more important than the outcome. And when you start to live your life where you make what you're doing now more important than any future time, you start to align yourself with spirit. And you start to have that inspired, animated energy called life running through you. You become more intelligent when you are aligned with life in this moment, because true intelligence doesn't come from the mind. It comes from outside of the mind. You can use the mind, but don't allow the mind to use you. So the difference between a normal goal and an inspired goal is a normal goal takes you away from life, away from presence, to some future time when you're going to, feel all right down the road there. Yeah. Where an inspired goal is this, what you're doing now is more attractive to you than going anywhere else. And the difference is how you feel. When you feel enthusiastic in this moment, then you know you're living an inspired life.
Yeah, and I think just going back to the art, when you're actually working with a process, with art, and because I do both. I do sort of outcome based, where I want something to look a certain way, and I do inner based. They're very different processes. And as soon as you get an outcome, or you have an outcome in your mind, you almost shut off, in a way, the natural flow. Because you're so connected with and so focused on what it should look like that you aren't allowing the universe, energy, life, to actually come in and actually help you with it. Because you say, no, I know it's got to look like that. So you're actually cutting off that flow in a way. And as soon as you lean back and you allow life to actually move through you, magical things happen that don't happen when you're trying to be in control. And I see it all the time. I had a situation which it's a story. Years ago, I was doing my first little sculpture that I'd ever done, and I was going to be turning it into bronze. And it was a figure, sort of a head of a Zulu woman. And I did it beautifully, and it sort of felt to me that it might be sort of fluk. I don't know if any of you know what the word fluk means, if you remember it in South Africa.
Swear.
It's like, how did that happen? I didn't do that. You know, that was when I looked at it afterwards, I thought, I don't know how I did that. I'm never going to be able to do it again. That was my head, obviously. And my man at the time was a sculptor, and he, bless him, went off and tried to cast this piece of mine and managed to blow the face out. So gave me the sculpture back with a headdress with no face. So I wasn't very impressed, I can tell you. And I said, well, that's wonderful. You know, I'm never going to be able to repeat this ever, because I don't know how I did it in the first place. So he sort of crept off and went and did his own thing, and I tried to start. And because my mind was so focused on it and judging it and saying, this is never, ever, ever going to work in a million years, you're never going to get it right. So having done that for sort of, I don't know, half an hour, fiddling and getting more and more frustrated because my mind was involved, I eventually remember clearly leaning back in my chair and opening my hands and saying, okay, life, come and help. The life force that created the universe knows how to do this. So come, you can come and help me. And it was unbelievable, because that thing happened in about 10 minutes. And it had taken me hours to do the first one. And my mind was completely out of the equation. It wasn't there. And I was completely I was a channel of life. And it worked through my hands. And I was blown away. It was better than the one before. And it wasn't me. What I'm saying is it wasn't I wasn't in control. I was the conduit of it, but I wasn't in control. And we think that we've got to be in control, and that we can control inspiration. We can't. It's not possible to control inspiration. So it's very similar. It's a metaphor for life, because when you're able to step back and let life, you're opening the door to life coming in and saying, okay, something that you didn't even conceive of can now happen, because you're actually allowing it. You're opening the door to it.
Yeah, you're surrendering to this moment, this moment. And there's a magic in that, an absolute magic. And, you know, what creates so much blockage within us is this word of fear. You know, I'm not going to be able to do it again. Well, that's fear.
Shuts you down.
And then the moment you surrender, you let go of fear, and then life is able to work through you and create stuff that you could never even dream of.
And it's so much more playful.
Yeah,
and that's what I love to see on workshops, is people, that moment where the light goes on. And that's that moment of inspiration where they look and they're just back in that 3 or 4, 5-year-old little body, and they're having fun and they're letting it evolve and unfold, and they're completely inspired. Absolutely completely inspired, because they're not connecting with what it's going to look like at the out. And I think that if we can live our lives more like that, you know, the intention is to create a painting. So the intention is to do a job, to do a project, to come and do a Facebook Live, to put a course together, to do an astrology session, to do a coaching session. That's the intention. But then you've got to be open for life to flow through you. And that's when things happen that you can't plan.
Yeah, so to live an inspired life is to live a surrendered life.
Yeah,
Surrendering to what? Surrendering to this incredible intelligence, this joyful dance called life. You're surrendering. Yes, you have an intention. You have a wonderful mind. Use your mind. But don't let it use you. So your mind is your servant now. It's not your master. It's not blocking you. But the mind works through time and fear. Inspiration works through joy and presence, if you can remember that. So, the mind works on the horizontal plane. Inspiration comes from the vertical plane, comes from this infinite depth of life called presence. And as we start to make what is more real to us than what isn't, so we start to live an inspired life. We start to let go of all of those blockages that we have, and we experience something that goes with inspiration, and that's called freedom. It's wonderful, and we're running online courses. In fact, we have a new one starting on Thursday night. If anyone wants to join us, we've still got some places open, haven't we? For Thursday, yeah. So if you want to join us, you are welcome. You can travel with us. It's a 13-week journey. Journey to freedom is the name. Journey to freedom, journey to inspiration, journey to love. It's the same thing. And the first week you can travel with us completely free of charge. So you can do from Thursday to next Thursday, a whole week, completely free of charge. You just register on our website, which is www.journeysofawakening.com. journeysofawakening.com. Go there and register. 13-week journey, but you can just do, if you want to, just the first week completely free. Join with us, and it's very much a journey of inspiration to come back to your true inspired self. You see, you have two selves. You've got the self that is the personality self, the mind self. It's the little self. It's based in time. It was a little child and it's growing and achieving, and then it's going to die. Yeah. That's the little self. The real self is your eternal self. It's the part of you that never ages. It's always here. It's looking through your eyes right now in this moment. That is the spirit that you really are. And when you live your life aligned with that, life changes. And Michelle hinted at in what she was saying. Life starts to flow. Her sculpture flowed through her hands. It wasn't herself doing it.
No.
It was this other intelligence that flowed through her hands and made it happen. And that's an inspired life.
It can't flow if you're holding too tightly.
No.
You actually block the flow.
Yeah.
And any artist on any level will tell you that. It'll block the flow. And that's, it's actually practice, because the more you do it, the more you get into that state of surrendered flow, the more it flows. And the more the inspired intention and the inspiration grows, and then that inspires the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So it flows out of it. So the doingness flows out of that beingness, of being in the flow. And so if we are controlled. We really are. Most of us live our lives, and if you don't do this work much, or if it's new to you, just be aware of how much of your time is spent thinking about the next thing that you have to do. So you're busy eating a meal and you're thinking about washing the dishes, or you're relaxing in bed for 5 minutes and you're thinking about when you have to get up, or you're anticipating the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And we've been programmed to do that because everything in our society is lined up with that. People don't very often say, so how are you being?
No one's ever asked me that.
Me neither. How are you doing? And
how are you doing?
Where are you going? And what are you going to do? And what's your 5-year plan? And if you sort of say, people aren't very impressed, because your validation, people validate you by what you do and your plans, and there's nothing wrong with that, except that
you may miss life itself.
You miss life in the process.
Yeah.
So it's just to become aware. And I catch myself all the time. I don't have to actually think about that right now. I can bring myself back now, here, to this, and enjoy this moment with this person in front of me. That's inspired. That informs everything else from that, as opposed to trying to find it outside and bring it in.
And what you said there, it takes practice, because we're
Does
so
take practice.
used to being in the mind, being in time, being in the past, being in the future. We have made that story way, way, way more important than reality, way more important than life itself. And it's become habitual to live in time.
Yeah.
And so it does take practice to pull your awareness away from the mind and to pull it into life as it is in this moment, and to live this inspired life, looking at that sunlight glinting on that leaf, looking at that little insect, looking at the incredible cloud patterns in this moment in the sky, or looking at a little animal. You know, pets can always bring us presence.
Always.
Because the moment we focus on them, they are present.
They are present.
The moment we look at them or stroke a cat or pat a dog, suddenly we become more present. And that's the roles that they play in our lives, is to bring us back to presence. Nature has, as Michelle mentioned, has a wonderful way of stilling the mind. And it's only the mind that takes you away from inspiration. Remember that. Inspiration is not to be found in the mind. It's to be found in the space between your thoughts, into that eternal essence of presence. That's where spirit is to be found.
Yeah, because it's almost like the doingness and the reaching for the next thing is like our default. It's like a computer when you have your default font or something, and it doesn't, it keeps going back to the default because that's what it's used to doing. And we're used to doing and defining ourselves by doing and achieving. And by bringing ourselves back into that presence, it is practice. That's why people sit and meditate, because you're bringing your mind back. You're becoming the observer. And so the more you do it, the easier it gets. And it's repetition. And so many people, me included, will often say, I don't have the time. Yes, you do. Because if you don't have the time, then you really need it. Then you really need to be quiet. It's like we almost see quietness and stillness as something
As a
that,
waste of
or that, I don't know if I deserve that. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I've got too many other things to do. I can't afford to sit for 10 minutes and just be, or gaze into a flower, or gaze into the sunset. But it's almost like we have to do that. Because if you don't do that, it's you're just in this matrix. It's insane. And so I think especially in times like we're in now, where the world is not a very stable place, to say the least, it's even more vital. And I think that just astrologically and with what's going on this year, we are being called on to build our inner resilience. And how do you do that? You don't do it from here. That does not build inner resilience. It just builds fear and anxiety, actually. So how do we do it? We go in. And whether that's even just stopping in the middle of the day and just for 1 minute, just pausing and just seeing what's in front of you and letting that feeling of inspiration just arise in you. And, people say, where do you get your inspiration from? You just turn around 360 degrees. There's inspiration. You'll find it anywhere. You can find it in a stark room with the light on.
Yeah.
You can find it anywhere if you really look. I know there was that sermon Buddha did where he handed a flower around, and the only person who got it was the one who, what did he do? He just held the flower, hey? And he started smiling.
And he recognized,
because he got it.
He recognized the joy and the essence in the flower in this moment. It had no purpose. It was not going anywhere. It was just pure presence. And one last thing I'd like to share before we do the meditation is another perspective on inspiration is when we set goals, they tend to be all about me, mine, or my. In other words, they have a sense of self attached to that future outcome, that goal.
Yeah.
Inspiration, you let go of this identity. You become more connected to the whole. So when you're inspired, your doingness tends to be for the good of all. It tends to come from an act of serving. And for those of you who are not feeling so inspired, maybe you're feeling a little bit depressed, I would suggest you look at even a tiny little way that you can serve. By serving, you open the gates to inspiration. So look at what you have to offer. Look at every single human being has been given unique gifts by the divine, by the universe, by nature. Look at those unique gifts that you have. And, if you want any help with that, we can. We can guide you in that process. In fact, in the second week on the Journey to Freedom, we look at your Sankalpa. We look at that true essence of inspiration that you can work with in your life. So that's another reason for joining us. But look at some little way that you can serve the greater community. Yeah. There's a very good story about someone who was counseling someone who's very depressed, and he said, go into your kitchen, get the broom, go downstairs and go and sweep the doorway off your neighbor, and I'll hold on the phone for you. And the guy went away and swept the doorway, the entrance, and came back. And he said, how do you feel? He said, I feel so much better. I feel so much better. Just doing one little random act of kindness, of serving, will lead you more into inspiration, because the mind is so busy all the time with what is wrong with yourself and what is wrong with the world. But when you're helping someone else, where's your focus? It's no longer on the little me. It's on them. It's on the world outside of yourself. And that will open the door to inspiration. So look at serving. That will definitely, if every step of every day is done in service to the greater world out there, you're actually serving yourself.
Yeah. Service to life.
Correct.
Service to love.
And you then start to live an inspired life.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's so true. That that it does actually just relieve that feeling of, because what is depression? It's often loneliness, it's often fear, it's often feeling of not being connected. So just doing an act of service, of kindness to someone makes you feel connected. And it can be something simple, like John says, sweeping someone, or taking someone's bin out, or taking them a cup of tea, or passing a lovely comment to somebody that might not have received a nice comment for a long time. Carrying someone's bag for them. It's tiny little things, but it makes you feel connected. And I think that's what everybody, all of us, long for, that true connection. That's what we really, all of us, it's a common human need, is connection, that feeling of connection. So I think it's excellent advice. Yeah.
Yeah, you may even find weeding a garden can lead you into inspiration. I mean, joining a choir and singing in a choir, not that I would do that with my voice, but singing in a choir, I mean, that's a wonderful way of sharing what you have, just for the enjoyment of those around you.
Yeah.
As long as you've got a good voice. So thank you for being with us tonight. Let's ask Michelle to do a lovely centering meditation with us and put us in the right space for the week coming up. And then we're going to give you an affirmation for the week ahead. So please stay for the end, and we'll give you that card, which we do every Sunday, and we will also post that onto the Facebook page.
I'm just going to plug this mic in because my voice tends to go really quiet.
There we go. Just put the mic on. There's a mic on there. Switch it on. Okay. And just a reminder again, while we are setting that up, that we do have a new course starting, a 13-week course starting on Thursday, a Zoom meetup. The Zoom meetups are very interactive, so we get to hear who you are, where you are in your life, the problems and the situations and the circumstances that you have. And join us on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. But the details are all on our website. You have to register at journeysofawakening.com. And we look forward to having you with us, and tell your friends as well. Thank you.
Please would someone just give us a sort of a thumbs up or something that you can hear us?
Can you hear us? Send us some hearts if you can hear us. And you're going to lead us out with a meditation.
Yeah. Hopefully they can hear us.
Should be working.
Nobody's commenting.
Takes a minute.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. We just had to plug in an external mic because when Michelle speaks slowly, the camera mic softly.
Okay.
The camera mic doesn't always pick it up, so you can hear us. Great.
All right. So.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. All right. Beautiful, deep breath in. Lovely, slow, gentle. Fill your tummy up. Bring it all the way up to your chest, and then a releasing, relaxing breath out. Just blow it out. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for a little bit, and now breathe out for longer. Breathe out for 6. And a third beautiful, gentle breath in. And a releasing breath out. And on the out breath, just relax your body even further, even more. Just sink in to this moment. Connect with the breath coming in and out. Notice the temperature of the breath as it comes into your nostrils and out through your nostrils or out through your nose. Notice what you can smell. What you can taste in your mouth. Notice what sounds you can hear in your environment. No labeling, just noticing the sounds. And I'll just connect with what you can feel. How are you feeling right now? Feel the sensation of your hands resting wherever they're resting. Feel yourself seated or lying down wherever you are, connecting with the surface. Feel the temperature on your skin. Just luxuriate in this moment. That little exercise, connecting with the 5 senses, will always bring you back into the moment. I'd like you to imagine yourself in a beautiful, beautiful scene from nature. It could be in the mountains, it could be near a lake, the sea, it could be sunset, sunrise. Just allow yourself to be guided to something which you find absolutely beautiful. Allow it to arise in your awareness without reaching for it. And once you have a scene from nature, really see if you can make it quite real. So really get a sense of where you are. Get a sense of how your body is, if you're standing or sitting. Get an idea of the temperature. If you could feel the temperature on your skin, what would it feel like? Connect to the textures around you. Connect to the colors. Allow yourself to see if you can just really embrace this moment as if you were there. This beautiful, beautiful place of nature, a gift. And now as you allow that feeling to actually start to arise in your body, feel how you feel inside when you visualize or when you connect with beauty. Imagine that feeling as a color coming straight into your heart. Again, just let it arise. If that feeling had a color, allow that color to come straight into the middle of your heart and to just light up your heart. Imagine filling your heart with this feeling. Might be inspiration, might be joy, it might be peace. Allow that to feel, allow yourself to feel that in your heart, and then allow that heart to expand as if your heart could expand and grow. And then allow that feeling and that color to flood your whole body in this moment. Send it to your head, send it to your toes, send it to your arms, your hands. Allow yourself to just fill yourself up, fill your tank up with this feeling of presence and beauty. Imagine right in the middle of that heart, there was a very bright spark of light. And by you being here present right now, you make that spark even brighter. Allow that spark of light to grow and to expand and to radiate out in all directions from your heart to the hearts of everyone in your family, in your community, in your country, in the world. Just radiating, that's all. There's no trying, just being, shining, radiating. Feel what you feel like right now, in this moment. Set an intention for yourself this week to bring yourself back to this place as often as you can. To start to make this the default. To make this more important than anything else. And now just take a very gentle breath in. And a gentle breath out. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes.
It was lovely. Thank you, Michelle. How do you feel? Don't you feel good? Let us know how you feel. It was really beautiful. Thank you. Carry this energy into the new week and you'll have a wonderful week. That's for guaranteed, hey? Mm-hmm. That's for sure. So we have an affirmation card for you. You want an affirmation card for the week? And just something else that comes to mind is as the world, or as Africa is opening up, we also going to be running a few physical live retreats where you can get to experience our teachings live and also interact with Michelle and her process art. So we have one coming up on the 24th, 25th of October in Stellenbosch at a beautiful place called Life Shine Wellness Clinic. And then we have on one coming up the month after at the Onros River, a beautiful small holding there near Hermanus. So just let us know if you're interested. You can just drop us a message and we can get back to you on the details of that.
Yeah, can't wait.
Do you want to join take a card?
Let's do this one, shall we? Okay, so the affirmation for tonight is, all my real needs are met effortlessly in this moment. Thank you.
And that's a wonderful card, because when you start to realize that all your real needs are met effortlessly, when your real needs are always met effortlessly in each and every moment, you don't have to worry about the future so much. So you can live more aligned with life and more aligned with spirit, and that is a far more sensible, intelligent way of living your life. So the affirmation, all my real needs are met effortlessly in this moment, and that will lead you to live a more inspired life. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving up an hour to be with us tonight. We really love this group, and we love your connection and the community that we have. And we look forward to seeing some of you on Thursday night. That would be really lovely to have you with us. journeysofawakening.com. So thank you. Bless you. Have a beautiful, wonderful evening and an even better week ahead.
Thanks for joining us.
Nighty night.